Well, hopefully this message doesn't find you, but if it does, then you're going to want to wake up just like I did. I'm just going to give you a little warning. If you don't hear from anyone else, you hear it from me. And I give you my experience. Doesn't mean it's going to be yours. So what is waking up like? It's like waking up from a dream. Here, during this time, there's a fairy tale where they talk about roll your boat gently down the stream and life's but a dream. So it's like waking up in that dream. Sometimes you'll wonder whether that dream is a fairy tale or a nightmare, but it's based on free will. And in this reality, if you happen to be in this one, there's a lot of polarity. So there's a lot of gray area between the light and the dark. It doesn't mean that it's a bad place or it's a good place. It's just a place where both extremes exist. There's a lot of density here as well. So this dream is going to feel very lonely for you because other people have not gotten to the level where they want to wake up or even know it's possible. But that's not going to stop you from doing it. Just know that it could be a potentially lonely journey. So throughout the rest of this month, Black History Month, if you choose to have another Black avatar in the future, this will be history, way back in your past, right? This will probably be on whatever small medium for historical stories that you have. So I'll leave you nuggets, and maybe the people during this time can use it as well, but this will be my final time capsule, and we'll see where this goes. But you heard it from me, from my own mouth, and just helping you on your journey, because odds are if you come back here and they still have that memory wipe thing going on, you don't remember this or you don't remember anything. So it'll be like you started from scratch, and you're going to want to open your third eye or your pineal gland or whatever. Who knows what type of augmentations are going to be there in your time. It could be looked upon negatively to be a natural human, but we'll get there sooner or later. But keep moving. So this is where you work, where you used to work. And we had a little fun here. You even played with characters called Jesus Jackson and things of that nature here, time travelers and all that stuff. Yeah, actually where you work at. And part of your mission was to leave a fingerprint digitally, which you've done under the alias Vikter Bang. But also here, you've also left another fingerprint, and I'll show you that. And we're coming up on it right now. And that same fingerprint is what you're leaving digitally as well. So when you ask yourself, how did you wake up? It's not by adding anything to what you are. It's by removing the programs of what you thought you were. So when you remove what you're not, what's left, then that's what you are. So that's how you did it. And that's how you're going to have to do it again. Now, what's added is going to be up to you in your reality and the programming that you go through as you come up. So just giving you a heads up. So we're going to talk about water, but we'll get to synchronicity later. Just like when you rode to work yesterday, you saw a synchronicity. Happens all the time. Mile markers on the timeline. We're going to talk about water. You live on a water planet if you're on the same planet in this reality. And we're all on islands. We're all island people, if you will. Some islands are bigger than others. The big islands we call continents. But water is the base of this reality. And there's water in the air now that you can't see. It's less dense. We call it humidity. Sometimes it condensates on this mirror, for instance, right? And then as that water gets denser and denser, it becomes liquid water. And then that water becomes denser and denser, and then it becomes a body in which you experience this reality with. And just like water, if you go down in density and down into the depths of the water, there's higher pressure. So when we talk about this reality being dense, this is how it kind of looks on a high level. So there you go. So waking up is hard to do, otherwise everyone would do it. It's a lot of noise to get through, which is why I chose the name Vikter Bang, which stands for victory over noise. So the easiest way to do it is self-observation, right? That's what worked for me. Hopefully it still works for you. And that's observing yourself as if you're looking at someone else. Another thing that helps is removing what you're not to reveal what's left. So if God is everything, and God is just the highest expression we can think of for whatever, higher self, divinity, blah, blah, blah. If that force, intelligence, whatever, is everything, that's including you, right? And then when you really start to dig into what and who you are, you realize that you're not a thing to begin with. So if God is everything, including you, and you're not a thing, then what does that leave? And intellectually, it could make sense, but until you have an experience, it won't be real to you. So that's going to be your journey if you come back. So we're all on our journeys, and the future may be murky. So the reason that your windshield is bigger than your rearview mirror is because what's in front of you is more important than what's behind you. But this is how you got to where you are, the present moment. This is what's in front of you. The only thing that you can focus on is the present moment. Stand on your course. Stand within your lane, if you will. And doing that to the best of your ability. You continue your path, continue moving forward. Don't put the brakes on. If you have to slow, you have to slow. Whatever your pace is your pace. But if you continue moving forward, you'll eventually get through whatever there is in front of you, whatever obstacles there is in front of you, whatever fog there is that's preventing you from seeing clearly. But you have to move forward. Otherwise, you'll be stuck in the fog, and you'll think that that's all there is, and you won't see past it. So, Goku is one of these characters, and I don't follow Dragon Ball Z that much, but I heard that he fights a lot of battles. He doesn't win them all, but he gets stronger from each one. So you're not going to win all the battles that you fight. And I've lost a lot, but I've learned from each one. So learn from each battle that you engage in. And you don't have to be undefeated. You just have to be unbroken. And I picked a lot of battles on this planet, in this reality, and a lot of them I don't talk about. I've lost some and I've won some. And I've learned from each of them, and they've allowed me to get stronger, just like the character Goku in Dragon Ball Z. So don't be afraid of challenges. Don't be afraid to test your skills. And again, regardless of whether you lose, learn something from that defeat. And you don't have to be undefeated to be unbroken. All right, y'all. Peace. One thing that's going to save you time is to not assume that other people are thinking on your level or about the things that you're thinking about or trying to be of service like you are. A lot of people are just trying to survive or trying to manifest money, women, get pleasure out of this world. Some people are just trying to die with the most money in their bank account. Not many are trying to be of service. So don't assume that other people can see the things that you see or are going to want to do the things that you want to do. And that will save you a lot of time, because you're going to be disappointed if you think that they actually care about the things that you care about. And the interesting thing is, a lot of people will say that they do. It's when you have to look at their actions, because like they say, actions speak louder than words. It's easy to say I'm about X, Y, Z, but if your actions don't line up, then that's the telltale sign. So keep that in mind. So here's a big one. One of the main things we're here to do and we're here to learn is how to love ourselves, even amongst all of this chaos and contrast and noise in this reality. So, serious question. Do you love you? Now, be honest with yourself. Don't judge yourself. And you can lie to me, you can lie to others, but you can't lie to yourself, because you know the truth. And you can ask yourself these questions. If you really loved yourself, would you talk to yourself the way that you do? Would you treat yourself the way that you do? Would you allow other people to treat you the way that you allow them to? And that may be a good thing or bad thing if you love yourself, right? That's up to the individual. But that's one of the things that we have to learn and we have to accept and be okay with ourselves, right? You're the only one of you in the universe, and you were made and created with the purpose to experience this reality. It's a beautiful thing. You're a magnificent creation. So loving yourself shouldn't be a problem. This world makes you look at yourself in a distorted image because of the way that they portray what needs to happen in order for you to love yourself. A lot of the problems in this world is because people don't love themselves, and so they seek love in other places and other people and try to manipulate people to get that love that they should be having for themselves. So love yourself. Easier said than done, right? But that is part of the work. And once you reach that level, things open up for you. Peace. We'll talk about synchronicity in a minute, but you can see inside of this one, the serial number is 227. This is the one I bought a while ago. So I mentioned before about life being a musical, right? So we're all musicians playing space-time. Now, if you look at string theory, they say at the base of all this reality is vibrating strings of light. So what you're seeing, including this, is just slowed down light. Your body is slowed down light, right? So when we say you're a light being, what you actually are. Now, imagine each of those vibrating strings a note. And imagine each of those notes being shown in this reality as elements. So this is an element, this is one, this is one, this is one. And then together, they make chords. This is a chord, you're a chord, and we're all built up of those simple elements to make a symphony, which is what we see now. Now, if you're playing your own music, then you're considered awake, or you're writing your own music, you're considered awake. You're the conductor, you're the creator of the music that you put out into the world. If you're playing someone else's music, reading off someone else's sheet, and beginning to write your own, you could say you're awakening, or you're raising your level of consciousness, or you're becoming your own conductor. If you're just reading someone else's music, or just in the audience, then you're unconscious, if you will. So there's different ways, and there's no judgment on all of them, because this is all musical. The thing is, there's the individual music that we play, and then there's the collective music that is being played. So we can control our individual music, but the collective is the orchestra. And each of us has an instrument. Even if you don't play an instrument, your body is an instrument, right? So just think about that. Everything you see is music. When I hit this, it's going to make a certain noise. When I hit this, it's going to make a certain noise. When I hit this, it's going to make a certain noise, right? It's all music. It's just the way that this music interacts with this, just like when I do this. So the question is, who's plucking the strings, right? Because that note stops. If that note stops, all of this stops. So this is a continuous note, right? Like that om, that's a continuous note at the end of all of this. And you're the one that's humming that note. Sometimes you're going to be the lone nut dancing, and I'll post that video after in a little bit. But that's how it feels. Kind of like that guy that's trying to start the wave, but everyone's trying to just watch the game. There's going to be a Super Bowl tomorrow, so that's the football parable. But someone trying to start the wave, and the wave is just everyone standing up. And as you stand up individually as a collective, it looks like a wave, right? So the lone nut dancing and looking crazy by himself until people join in, and now he's not the lone nut, right? In that video where it talks about leadership and how I mentioned being leader of a leaderless movement, it kind of parallels what's in that video, which I think was brilliant. So right now I'm a lone nut. You see, I ride dolo for the majority of the time. And that's how it has to be for this leg of the journey. So your aloneness may be for your leg of the journey, but it's going to be for a reason. You're not a lone nut. You're just starting a wave of consciousness. In the spiritual journey, you're not going to always know where you are. You just keep moving. There's a path that's in front of you, and there's a path that's behind you. If you stay still, you're going to be stuck, right? So you got to keep moving. You may not know exactly where it's going to take you. That's where the faith comes in. Faith in the ancestors that have laid the path before us, right? Some of the things that have been put out there that show somebody's been here before, right? Mile markers for us on the timeline. Imagine that being a pyramid or some other structure that shows someone of intelligence was here before and has left markers for us. We can see evidence of intelligence all around us. We can see things that are not natural, right? Like we can see that was cut by something. And there's going to be other people on the path too, traveling in different directions, doing their own thing. Everybody's on their journey. Some are going in one direction, some are going in the other. But the path is here. You can't deny that. Where the path goes, where the path leads, that's for you to explore. That's your journey. I can tell you, when me talking to you what it feels like here doesn't give you any idea of the experience of being here. That's what you have your senses for. To feel what that wind feels like, to feel what that breeze feels like, to feel what the temperature feels like. All of that is for you to experience, not for me to tell you. That's why you're here to experience it yourself. The things that I say are not things that you have to believe in. These are things for you to experience and activate and actualize within yourself. So I hope you guys enjoyed the Super Bowl. I didn't watch it last night. I worked on my little link tree thing, so you can see all the links that are there now in the bio, a little more organized. I'm about to walk in here, and I'm sure they'll be talking about who won and all the plays, and I can see the replay, blah, blah, blah. I'm creating a few gates on the social media apps. Again, this is a digital fingerprint that's going to be picked up by a few things. We'll talk about that later. One of the gates was the 100-degree challenge, which you'll see in the link tree. And that is the systematic steps of removing what you aren't to reveal what you are, right? The 100-degree challenge. It's a play on water going from ice to steam, a change in state of what it already is, and experiencing a different reality for water, being able to escape the cup, if you will. So that's one, and this one, the notes to self, is going to be another gate. So these are going to be physical things that you can see as you scroll down and scroll up. And the next gate will be one of the final gates. So there you have it. So it's pretty cool what you can do and begin to create when you don't need the approval of other people, or you're not affected by other people's opinions. And other people's opinions and approvals can limit a lot of people, and do limit a lot of people. So a lot of us have tied our shoes before, thousands of times up to this point, right? And when you tie your shoes, you're taking a string and you're tying it through different gates, and you're using that and you're tying it one string together to hold these things together, right? So that's what I've done with this digital footprint. And these gates are gates of time that you can rewind and look at these posts. And the string is my life. So this is a love letter of consciousness, because I wouldn't have done all this work had I not felt that this is the solution to a lot of the problems for humanity. So on one level, it's a love letter to humanity, using my life, using the string of consciousness that I am through these gates of time. And the other thing is also tying it together for another purpose, which we'll get into later. Hey, what's good, y'all? So we're halfway through the month, and now we're going to get into some juicy stuff. So we're going to talk about Jesus. And there's a lot of denominations. I'm in the Bible Belt, right? And you see signs talking about it's all about Jesus, and this person says it's all about Jesus, and they're two different churches and two different ideas of Jesus. So I think of Jesus as a time-traveling alien, and let me explain. Alien, not from a sense that he looks different than me and you. Jesus looks like us. He's a human being. But if there's a such thing as aliens, then we look like aliens to them. But aliens in a sense that he's from a different realm, from the spiritual realm, a spiritual being having a human experience. That's what he was talking about. Now, time traveling in the sense that he was thousands of years ahead of his time, because humanity still hasn't got that core message that the kingdom of God is within, and we're spiritual beings having a human experience. We put Jesus on the pedestal, or our religion has put Jesus on the pedestal, even though he didn't do that himself. He said, the things that I can do, you can do them better. That was purposeful that they put him on a pedestal, to try to make it seem like what he could do and what he did, you couldn't do. Jesus was a rebel also. He was against the church and state back in his day. And I wonder if he knew how big the church and state would be and how they would co-opt his story into a religion. One of the things that he was against during his time, organized religion. Look what he did inside of the church, Imagine what he would do inside of these churches now. So we'll get more on Jesus, but think of him as a time-traveling alien trying to tell you that you're from a different realm and the kingdom is within you as well. What's good, G's? So think about Christ consciousness like a radio signal. Think of it more as a frequency than an actual person. So Christ is not a title, it's a state of consciousness, right? So Jesus Christ, so Michael Christ, whatever your name is, Christ, that's available. That's the potential. Jesus and those avatars were just people that maximize the potentials of human beings. They're not to be put on a pedestal or to be worshipped, especially when they say the things that they can do, you can do and greater, right? So imagine that the frequency that they've tapped into, their higher selves, their God selves, whatever you want to call that Christ consciousness is available to you. And those knobs are internal. That's why the spiritual journey is within. The kingdom of God is within. So imagine Jesus is someone that just tapped into that. Buddha is someone that tapped into that. The mystics and the ancient sages are people that just tapped into that. It doesn't make them special. Their actual receiver, right, isn't special. They just picked up on that frequency. You're able to pick up on that frequency, but the knobs are internal. Well, some people say, like, Jesus take the wheel. They want to be possessed by somebody other than them. That's not possible. Well, that is possible to a degree, but you want to take control of your own knobs. You want to take control of your own station. There's a station that's being broadcast, and that station is one where there's unity, love, and higher consciousness. And that's why I'm so adamant about this, because once you tap into that, then your actions reflect that. And when your actions reflect that, that changes the world. And we can use higher consciousness actions in this reality. And it's not going to happen from watching somebody else or mimicking somebody else. It's going to happen from you doing your own internal work, getting your own knobs, turning into your own frequency and broadcasting that out. So you get to experience it and you get to give that, and that changes the world and changes the matrix. And the people that have done that have been put on a pedestal, but they're nobody special. They're just like you. We'll talk more about it.
So it's 1:27 on February the 17th, 2023, and I guess you can see these notes to self have looked different. I thought I'd be able to finish them all, but I guess I won't. So we all think we have more time, including myself, and it's interesting just how things line up that TikTok is one of the last social media apps that I post on. One of the reasons why your attention span isn't longer than 15 seconds now. So there's a lot of things that I want to say, and most of them have already been said. So when you go back and look at the things I've said, I was talking to you. I was trying to get you to realize how great you are and what divinity you have within you. And it's a time capsule. It's a love letter to you at the end of the day. So we were talking about Jesus. I've talked about Jesus plenty of times, and you can look at the long form on YouTube if you want to. I've been shadow banned on a lot of different apps. I really don't mention that, but it is what it is. When you think about Jesus, his acts were local acts. He wasn't in the big city. He wasn't really famous or anything like that. He was doing what he could on a small scale where he was. And it ended up being something that inspired a lot of people, and they tried to turn that story into something else to gain control, which is something that he didn't want people to submit to. He wanted them to have their own power. But that's a different story, and I've talked about that before. And you talk about someone being 100 generations in the future, and we're bridged to this current point now, and we'll see what happens in the next 50 generations. You know, being a bicentennial baby coming here 200 years after America was founded, you can see the history of America. And I've seen a couple generations, and we'll see what the future of humanity holds. It's going to be up to you. This is going to be somewhat of a cryptic post, because who knows what the future will bring for me and for us. And like I say, we all think we have more time, and we're going to split this up into different things. So I do wish you all the best. And the intent is to release the creativity that I've had, and we'll see how that works and how that will play out. Because again, we all think we have more time than we do, including myself. And I can make these posts at any time and at anywhere, so you won't know if I'm here or there. And that's purposeful, because I'm going back to the point of everywhere. And again, love you guys and wish you the best. You can look at the stuff I posted, the story up to this point, and just ask yourself, why would someone go through all of this trouble to tell a lie? And where is the lie? I wanted to be fact-checked, quote unquote, and was willing to talk to anybody on this planet, and just was not given the opportunity for whatever reason. And you can debate that until you're blue in the face, but we'll see where the rest goes. But it looks like this will be one of my last notes to self.